got the pledge tonight. Yeah, I see. Yeah. Good evening. The hour of 7 p.m. having arrived, I will call to order this regular meeting of the Keene City Council. This meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel and Spectrum Channel 1302. The video is also streamed on the city's website and is posted by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. If you would like to receive an electronic City Council packet to reference while viewing future broadcasts, please contact the City Clerk's office during business hours or go to the city's website and subscribe to the city mailings email list. The agenda is also accessible from any mobile device. I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Randy L. Filio.
Here.
Michelle A. Chalice. Catherine I. Workman.
Here.
Brian J. Lake.
Here.
Jacob R. Favolis. Laura E. Tobin.
Here.
Robert C. Williams.
Here.
Philip M. Jones.
Present.
Chris E. Roberts. Bettina A. Chadbourne.
Here.
Edward J. Haas.
Here.
Laura E. Ruddle Miller.
Here.
Molly V. Ellis.
Here.
Thomas F. Powers.
Here.
Mitchell H. Greenwald.
Okay, I have a request this evening from Counselor Chalice to be allowed to participate remotely. Counselor Chalice is on our monitor. I'd like to ask if you would state the reason to participate remotely this evening and where you are.
I am home alone.
Oh, sorry, can't hear you. Hold on a second.
Maybe turn on.
My mic is on. Can you hear me now?
It is faintly.
Huh. Well,
So
I'll speak
check
loudly.
on your
My-
end, and Deputy Manager's checking if it's on our end.
How about better now?
Not totally.
Okay.
Speakers, yeah.
Microphone is on.
I think it's us.
If you can hear me at all, I am home alone with a torn meniscus in my right knee.
Yes,
We're good.
we did hear that.
Okay.
And you have my sympathy. We'll see if your colleagues feel the same way. Any objections to Counselor Chalice participating remotely? I see no objections, Counselor, so you will participate remotely. We will conduct all of our votes by roll call this evening. And, okay, I'd like to ask Counselor Workman to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So I'd like to recognize Counselor Filio for a motion to adopt the minutes of our previous meeting.
Move to accept the minutes of the January 15th, 2026 meetings as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Powers. Any comments, additions? Counselor Ellis.
Barb Weisman's name was misspelled.
Thank you. Want to make a reference on a page or just?
It was
We-
several times. I wrote down on a note and then I couldn't
Yeah,
find my note.
good enough. I think the clerk can
We'll take
Take
care of
that
it. Thank
message.
you.
make that adjustment. We'll take that as a Scribner error. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those
Roll
in
call.
favor, we will ask you that via roll call.
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Chalice.
Aye.
Counselor Workman.
Yes.
Counselor Lake.
Yes.
Counselor Favolis.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
Yes.
Counselor Roberts.
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne.
Yes.
Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Ellis.
Yes,
Counselor Powers.
Yes.
Motion carries, and we move forward with, and before I address announcements, I want to take a moment to honor one of our former city councilors who recently passed away, Cynthia Georgina, who passed on January 22nd. Cynthia was a lifelong Keene resident, having attended Keene High School and Keene State College. She was educated, worked, and raised a family here in Keene with her husband, who she affectionately referred to as Smiley. Cynthia became a Keene City Councilor in 1988 and served at large until 1999, and she returned to the City Council in 2004 as a Ward 5 councilor and served until 2011. She served as chair of the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee from January 07 through December of 11, and retired from the council the same year. Cynthia has given to the community a lifetime of dedicated service, and she'll be sorely missed. A visitation of Cynthia will be held on Tuesday, February 10th, from 5 till 7 at the Foley Funeral Home on Court Street. I encourage folks who knew and appreciate her service to attend. Personally, I'll say, not just through the city council, but also through her WKBK frequent broadcasts. I had the opportunity to interact with Cynthia. Her dedication to our community, her affection for its members was really quite sincere. She may have called her husband Smiley, but she had a light in her face and a smile that covered it. She was always a joy to be with, and she was a real bellwether for the city council that I trusted as a person who frequently came to the city council as a guest. I regret that and want to express my sympathies to the family. Some other upcoming dates of interest. This weekend is the Ice and Snow Festival. It'll be conducted in downtown Keene this coming Saturday, February 7th from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. The event will feature 14 ice carvers this year, which is an addition of a couple, along with many family activities. So this is a great winter festival here in Keene. I encourage as many folks who can come out and enjoy this. It's a treat, and it's unique across the state of New Hampshire. As part of the Human Rights Committee's Black History Month programming in February, there will be a screening of the documentary Shadow Falls North at Heberton Hall on February 17th at 6 p.m. This documentary focuses on the overlooked black history of New England and efforts to reclaim it. And then a follow-up discussion will take place on March 5th at 6:30 at the Historical Society of Cheshire County, which has its own history reclamation project underway. A reminder that the City Council's workshop relating to the capital improvement plan for 2027 through 2033 will be held at Heberton Hall on Tuesday, March 3rd, starting at 5:30 p.m. We encourage all councilors to arrive at 5 p.m. as a meal will be served prior to the start of that meeting. And there is also scheduled a special meeting of the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee for March 10th at 5:30 to continue review of the proposed capital improvement plan. The regular FOP meeting on March 12th will start early so that the CIP review can continue, and meals will be prior to both of those meetings as well. Reward for your good participation in that process. Looking ahead to a warmer weather announcement, there will be a summer break this year. And it'll occur in August, as tradition. The regular council meeting scheduled for August 6th, 2026 will be held as planned. However, the August 20th and September 3rd city council meetings will be canceled. That's going to give us a good 5-week break. In addition, all standing committees during August will be canceled, and that includes PLD on August 12th, FOP on August 13th, and on August 27th, and the MSFI committee meeting on August 26th. Regular meetings will resume during the week of September 7th with the PLD meeting on September 9th and FOP meeting on September 10th. So we'll no doubt announce those 4 or 5 times more before August. But start planning your opportunity for a break during August and beginning of September. Okay, there are no hearings, presentations, or proclamations this evening, so I'm going to ask the clerk to please read nominations and appointments to committees that are up for confirmation this evening.
Yes, we have several confirmations this evening, and they include to the Bicycle Pedestrian Path Advisory Committee, Jacob Robertson, who will serve as a regular member in Slot 6 for a term to expire December 31, 2028. To the Congregate Living and Social Services Licensing Board, we have Ian Matheson serving as a regular member in Slot 5, term to expire December 31, 2028. To the Human Rights Committee, we have Jennifer Porschitz serving as an alternate member in Slot 10 for a term to expire December 31, 2028. To the Planning Board, David Bergeron serving as a regular member in Slot 1 for a term to expire December 31, 2028. And then to the Trustees of Trust Funds and Cemetery Trustees, we have Michelle Howard being reappointed as a regular member in Slot 4, as well as Heather Scheck being confirmed as an alternate member in Slot 6, both with terms to expire December 31, 2028.
And I'll just add, if I might, briefly, the attention that we call to vacancies on the city website, together with the startup of this new term of the city council, has brought forward a number of nominations of really qualified people. There's another backlog of another half a dozen folks that are interested in committees. I think we've pretty well filled out every regular slot on a committee, and we're now filling the alternate positions. So, I mean, this is a really good sign, and I want to thank folks. If you've had any role in encouraging folks to apply, it's worked, and it's really good. And then we have a couple of other nominations.
We
Oh, I'm
do.
sorry,
We
hold
need
it.
to
We
confirm.
need to confirm these by vote, and I'd like to ask Counselor Filio for a motion. Is that right? Counselor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to confirm the nominations.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Filio. Roll call, please.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Chalice? I can see her saying yes. Okay. Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Ellis?
Yes.
And Counselor Powers?
Yes.
And I do see Dave Bergeron in the audience. Dave, congratulations. And a couple other nominations for this evening.
Yes, we have 2 nominations from the mayor this evening. The first is to the Assessors Board, and it is Christine Houston, who will serve as a regular member in Slot 2 for a term to expire December 31, 2028. And to the Human Rights Committee, Thomas M. White, serving as alternate in Slot 14 for a term to expire December 31, 2028.
Thank you. We'll hold those nominations until the next meeting. Okay, we've got some communications that have come in.
We do. Our first communication is from John Loveland, and he is submitting a letter with concerns related to the proposed downtown infrastructure project. Mentions liabilities related to certain aspects of planning and the approved design.
For those returning in the city council, we've had a number of communications from Mr. Loveland. This communication, you might have noticed, is particularly directed towards newer councilors to call your attention to the things that he's concerned about. So hopefully you've had a chance to read those, okay? And we'll file his communication as informational.
And our next communication is from Counselor Workman, and this is a request for the review and potential update of the 2019 Interagency Memorandum of Understanding involving local law enforcement partners.
And we'll refer Counselor Workman's letter to the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee.
Next communication is from Mark Rebelard of the Keene Downtown Group. Mark is requesting the city council suspend their policy related to community funding and provide funding towards the series of mini festivals slated for the summer of 2026.
And we'll refer Mr. Rebelard's letter to Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee.
And we have a second letter from Mr. Rebelard, and this one is a similar request for community event status for the 250th Independence Day celebration.
And that, too, is a recommendation, communication that will refer to the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee as well. Okay. We'll move on to committee reports.
And our first two reports are coming out of the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee. They're both informational reports. The first relates to a presentation from Griever and Ward on the Monadnock View Cemetery expansion project. And the second relates to a presentation by Public Works on public storm response.
And we'll file, as recommended, both of those reports as informational.
Our next report is from the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee, and it relates to the Downtown Infrastructure Project. And on a vote of 5-0, the Municipal Services, Facilities, and Infrastructure Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to incorporate the scope of the work and the contract restriction changes into the Downtown Infrastructure Project bid documents as presented, and to rebid the project for construction beginning in the spring of 2026.
I recognize Counselor Workman for a motion.
I move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Tobin. Counselor Workman for the committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. So as you know, unfortunately, the first round of bids have come back in higher than we expected, which created roughly a $7 million gap in what is currently earmarked for the project. Public Works analyzed every bid line item and consulted contractors to understand why. The key factors were reduced productivity in the tight downtown environment, heavy subcontractor requirements, and the 2-year schedule that many local contractors felt was just unrealistic. Rather than rebidding unchanged, staff proposed targeted scoped reductions and contract changes to lower the cost while still preserving the core infrastructure goals. Recommended changes included eliminating or scaling back higher cost aesthetic and non-essential features such as granite seating walls, decorative lighting bollards, specialty curbing, some textured concrete areas, portions of temporary pavement, and a full depth road base replacement, instead replacing it with the partial reclamation instead. Staff also suggest reducing police traffic control hours where flaggers can be used safely. These eliminations will save roughly $1.6 million. The second group of items would be deferred or done in-house for better value, including benches, trash receptacles, bike racks, gazebos, changes to the gazebo stairs, pay station locations, the fountain upgrade, the catenary lighting, and the Christmas tree base, which would include additional net savings in contract costs, while still allowing those features to be added later. And then the third set of substitutions, which includes such as smaller underground drainage structures, less decorative concrete treatment, standard curbs, and possible donated field office space and electrical design refinements,
could save additional net savings with the trade-off of somewhat higher future maintenance in limited areas. Lastly, staff recommend returning to the 3-year construction schedule and easing certain work restrictions, which would allow for Saturday work and more flexible parking impacts, with the intent of attracting more bidders and improved pricing. To close the remaining gaps, it's proposed that we redirect funding from upcoming roadway paving funds with the exact impacted roadways to be identified during the upcoming CIP process. The committee voted 5-0 to authorize the city manager to incorporate the presented scope and contracted changes into the bid documents and rebid this project for the beginning of September 2026, and we hope you do the same.
Thank you. I do want to point out, both in the minutes and in Counselor Workman's presentation, those are a lot of items to keep track of. So I appreciate the city manager having distributed a page that you have at your desks that describe all of the changes from the original bid to this rebid process, and I appreciate the being able to keep track so easily through that. Thank you. Motion?
Can I just add a clarification?
Yeah, please. Yep.
So just one additional clarification, the intent would be for us to go back out to bid as soon as possible and keep the project out to bid for, it's usually approximately a month, so that we can start construction in the May timeframe.
Okay, Counselor Filio.
Thank you. Well, having personally been involved in this project for going on over 5 years right now, there are other areas that I would like to have seen cut, and there's other areas that I'd like to have seen been eliminated. But with that said, I'm sure all 15 of us think the same thing. And I think it's imperative now that we, bite the bullet, I guess you say, and get moving on with this project, because as we've seen over the last year, on Water Street, Lower Main Street, and this past weekend on Leverett Street, the pipes aren't getting any younger, and it costs more and more to fix these emergency repairs. So, like I said, even though this project is not perfect and there's other areas that I would independently like to see changed, it's time for this 15 council to move on right now and get this project done and move on to the next thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other councilors wishing to speak? We have taken this up again and again, and hopefully moving forward. So thank you very much. I'd like to ask the clerk then to call the roll.
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Chalice.
Yes.
Counselor Workman.
Yes.
Counselor Lake.
Yes.
Counselor Favelis.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
No.
Counselor Roberts.
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne.
Yes.
Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Ellis.
Yes.
Counselor Powers.
Yes.
The motion carries 13-1. Thank you very much. And best wishes. Okay, moving on to item D4.
And this is a Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee report relative to a request to increase the disabled veteran property tax credit. And on a vote of 4-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee recommends the amended motion to direct the city manager to draft a resolution related to the tax credit for service-connected total disability, increasing the amount from $4,000 to $4,300, and that this item be reviewed during the upcoming revaluation.
Recognize Counselor Powers for a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to recognize Counselor Roberts.
Yes, Your Honor, I was excused in the FOP, and I request that I be excused now to vote on this because I'm one of the 68 individuals that this would affect.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Any objections to Counselor Roberts recusing himself on this item? I see none. Sorry. Counselor Powers?
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
So we're here this evening to discuss this particular item because the state law has changed as the amount that is available to a totally and permanently disabled member of the service. It was up until most recently $4,000. Legislature made a move to make it $5,000, but at the same time, there's another exemption available to a certain number of veterans of $300. So they took the $300 out and said they'll be covered if you raise the exemption to $5,000 or whatever you may do. So the average person that applies for the exemption, they're whole if we make a change. Otherwise, they would be $300 less of an exemption for them. Every community makes this decision themselves. State law provides for it, so each community visits it from time to time or on a schedule and makes these changes. And we discussed it at the committee level, and we talked a little bit about what's the economic impact to the city in terms of the fact that people's tax bills who may have this exemption will be reduced by a like amount. Were we to go with the $1,000, costs us around $68,000 in revenue in the next budget season. It's hard to judge that because you don't know where your income's going to be, but that's an item that people like to know, what's the impact. After a bit of discussion, and we amended our motion at least once and decided that the best way for us to approach it at this point in time was to put the $300 back in by changing our totally disabled exemption to $4,300 annually, with the same promise to those who are interested and came to discuss it, that we will address the entire thing when we go through the budget process and the reevaluation of all the city properties in the next season. So there were a couple other questions that if you particularly have them, we'll try to answer it. But there is a bit of, there's a bit of an economic impact to the city. However, 68 folks, in my opinion, and I think the committee expressed the same, have earned it and deserve it. Thank you.
This essentially is a hold harmless action. If you notice, that $300 credit was otherwise offered to veterans who had been disabled through their service. This is not something that we want to backslide on. Councilor Tobin.
I will be supporting this. I also just wanted to say that I appreciate how intentional FOP was about making sure that that was going to make it into, be considered again during the reevaluation.
Councilor Ellis.
Thank you. I just want to say I hope that we do revisit this because I don't feel it behooves the city of Keene to be nickel and diming totally disabled veterans. So I hope that we will revisit this and eventually give the full $5,000 credit. But I'm glad we're doing what we are for now. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Favelis.
I didn't want to be the only MSFI member that didn't speak. This question came up at committee from Councilor Lake when the 5,000 was on the table. I do have a question though, because we're mid-year about, if we pass this tonight, this can actually be implemented and get to the, okay.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Chalice.
Yes.
Counselor Workman.
Yes.
Counselor Lake.
Yes.
Counselor Favelis.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne.
Yes.
Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Ellis.
Yes.
Counselor Powers.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We move on to D5.
Do we have D5? I think we might be done with. Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. I think I attached something there that I shouldn't have. So D5 is the execution of a lease for 11 Central Square, and this is coming out of the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to negotiate and execute a lease with Nicola's LLC for the use of space at 11 Central Square.
Recognize Counselor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
It's seconded by Counselor Lake. Counselor Powers?
Thank you, Your Honor. Nicola's is coming back to downtown. Right below us here. So we discussed this a little bit, and perhaps there was some confusion, so I'm going to put some terms on it that us old timers will remember. We're talking about Jean's Pastry, right down below us. And this section of, it's our building, and it's always been used as a retail location. This section, which is 11 Central Square, was renovated quite a bit, twice. And as part of this negotiation, the property, the furniture, et cetera, all wasn't ours, but it was somebody else's. So that's all going to be worked out through the lease. There are two other parts of downstairs that are not affected by this lease. My hope is that you'll see a lease from those two pieces of property in the near future. But each of those pieces of property needs a little bit of attention because those two have been around. One was the wine cellar, used to be the chamber. She recognizes that. And the small storefront that's adjoined to the wine cellar was Marshall's Barber Shop. So both those small pieces, they're pretty popular and it's the right place. They just need some attention and the right customer to come forward. And I'm sure the manager will make a good proposal for them when they're ready to lease it. So it was unanimous by the committee that the manager be authorized to sign this lease. Thank you.
Thank you for the history lesson. Questions from the council? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Chalice.
Yes.
Counselor Workman.
Yes.
Counselor Lake.
Yes.
Counselor Favelis.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
Yes.
Counselor Roberts.
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne.
Yes.
Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Ellis.
Yes.
Counselor Powers.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Move to D6.
And this is a Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to the execution of an agreement for engineering services with NextGen for the design of the Gilboa Ave Solar Pavilion project. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to execute an agreement with NextGen for engineering services for the design of the Gilboa Avenue Solar Pavilion project for an amount not to exceed $300,000.
I recognize Counselor Powers for the motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Chadbourne. Counselor Powers for the committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. Council members, on your desk, there's a bio of the proposed engineer who has quite a bit of experience in dealing with solar, and our project has a large component that's solar. It also has a component of using natural wood, some of that wood probably harvested from New Hampshire. Very much the kind of construction that we see from a couple of bigger firms around this area. So it's the right thing to do when we're trying to continue our work with solar and making things more accessible for everybody. So it's a very different kind of engineering and construction, thus the little bit higher expense for engineering, because you really got to make sure you're doing this right when you deal with solar and you deal with winter time. As you recall, this proposal went out to bid. The money to cover it is 20% city funds, and the other 80% is federal funding. Northern Borders Regional Commission, and their interest is timber for transit. So thereby, it really falls into what we want to do and some of the objectives we have. The first proposal brought before the city council, the vendor, we did not pass it for that vendor. So that's why it was back to us last week at the committee meeting, and X-Gen's proposal was fully explained by the city engineer. It certainly meets the criteria. They have the ability to deal with this proposal. And remember, when it's federal money, everybody's got a finger in this. So the proposal's pretty substantial because it has to meet the engineering requirements of the feds and certain other agencies along the way. So, it's recommended that the manager be authorized to sign the contract with the company for not to exceed $300,000, and we have the funding and the ability to do this. Recommended the council approve it. Thank you.
Counselor, any questions of Counselor Jones?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad this came along. This project was originally part of the downtown project. I didn't like it being part of that. Now it's part of the TFT. I think that's a wonderful situation here, and I'm glad we changed directions and are going this way.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further questions, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Chalice.
Yes.
Counselor Workman.
Yes.
Counselor Lake.
Yes.
Counselor Favelis.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
Yes?
Counselor Roberts.
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne.
Yes.
Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Ellis.
Yes.
Counselor Powers.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. And we'll move to the city manager's report.
So this evening, I wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up on some podcast topics that we have coming your way. So typically, we record a podcast the day after, or within a couple days of the council meeting, and tomorrow's podcast will feature our city engineer, who will discuss the Solar Pavilion project, including the project timeline, funding sources, and anticipated benefits. On February 20th, I will be joined by our new airport director, who will share some of his prior experience as well as his early observations of our airport. On February 23rd, we will record a special podcast focused on the capital and operation budget process. On March 6th, the parking director will join me to discuss zone flexibility and the changes that had been implemented a few months ago and some initiatives that are coming our way. So hopefully those are topics. We try to mix in a little bit more information that might be covered, that isn't necessarily covered at a council meeting, and hopefully it'll be interesting for people to follow along. Also, if you remember, on February 26th at FOP, we are planning a overview of capital planning, budgeting, and the tax rate, and that will be presented by Dan Langell, our assessor, as well as Carrie Chamberlain, our finance director. I also want to just take a moment and recognize the city's safety committee. It's chaired by TJ O'Brien, and Megan Young in our HR office did a lot of work to bring about a CPR AED training session with the help of the fire department, and it was really popular and very well attended. And so they are interested in doing that again. So next year, they'll be bringing forward 4 opportunities, and they'll be scheduled in clusters to maximize staff participation and allow for recertification and expand CPR certification across the organization. The certification is valid for 2 years. And these opportunities are also available to our city councilors. We had one city councilor, Michelle, attended. And so when those come back up again, if that's something that you're interested in, the fire department does a really great job putting that training on. I also wanted to just let you know that we, this week, had a visit from the State Business of Economic Affairs, as well as Outdoor Recreation and Travel and Tourism. And they talked to the mayor and I about statewide initiatives, and they came here to learn more about the economic development work that we're doing here, as well as the importance of our airport. And so they shared some information on cross-promotion opportunities, which we're excited to take advantage of, and they toured the airport and learned a little bit more about the importance of the airport as an anchor to our business community. So we appreciated them coming to Keene and actually staying the night here and taking advantage of all that we have to offer. I also just wanted to give an update. The council decided back in, I think it was September, to authorize me to enter into a host agreement with Revo Casino and take advantage of a possibility of a donation to the city, and we did do that. The total amount received by the city was $13,788.35. And so later this month, staff will return to the Finance Committee with a recommendation to allocate the funds to the Police Department to offset a portion of planned expenditures that is included in the upcoming capital improvement plan. We are planning to put forward the system right now that records all of our telephone and radio traffic. It has a 6-year shelf life, and it's due for replacement in fiscal '27, and this will be a helpful revenue to help offset that. I will be executing the same host agreement for 2026. And I think that's all that I had for you this evening. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it was, we've got some really good relationships developing with Business and Economic Affairs. You might notice that there's a new commissioner proposed for confirmation this next week. And that could change some directions, but right now their staff has been really available for our outreach, our invitations, and they've taken us up on that, so it's good to get them here and promoting us. They were very excited, by the way, about a 250th celebration that might take place here, and they would be able to list that on their website for their 250th celebration. I guess it's not taking place just yet. It will. All right. Stop tongue-tying myself. All right, moving on. We have, speaking of donations, that was good news, and we've got some other good news. Counselor Powers.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second. Do you need to read into the
Yeah,
record what we're voting on?
please do that.
So this is a memorandum that came from the finance director, and it is recommending the acceptance of donations totaling $8,481.17.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
Seconded where? Counselor Chadbourne.
So, once again, this community has come forward to support us and the other members of the community and the staff and everything they do. Fire Department has received $200 from Rose and Chris Lee, $100 from Kay Alderman and James Mountford, $100 from Seven Rivers Law Office PLLC. Fire Department has also received $200 donation from Harrison and Marlene Baldwin in appreciation of services provided by the department members. Brattleboro Heat Fast Pitch Club donated $2,731.17 to the Parks and Recreation to support girls softball programming. And the Gallup Fund has donated $5,000 through the Human Rights Committee to benefit the 2026 Keene International Festival, and a $100 donation from Deborah Hill, and a $50 donation from Edmund and Roberta Giafari Revocable Trust for our Branch Out for Parks project. Thank you to every one of them.
We have a motion to accept these donations. Any questions? We need a roll call to accept these this evening.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Chalice?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Ellis?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Okay, and now we move to reports from boards and commissions. We've got one report.
Yes, and this is a memorandum from our city planner, and it is submitted on behalf of the Joint Planning Board PLD Committee, and it relates to Ordinance O 2025-40 relating to setback exceptions, accessory dwelling units, and parking regulations. And the report indicates that at their meeting of January 12th, 2026, the Planning Board voted unanimously to find the ordinance consistent with the 2025 Comprehensive Master Plan. And further, the Planning, Licenses, and Development Committee unanimously voted to request the mayor set a public hearing on the ordinance.
And we'll set that public hearing for March 5th at 7 PM at our regular meeting. Next, we have ordinances for their first reading, and we've got two.
We do. And the first is from the Police Department, and it relates to fines for nuisance, menace, and vicious dog offenses. And this is Ordinance O 2026-01, an ordinance relating to fines for nuisance, menace, and vicious dog offenses.
And we'll refer this one more time to Planning, Licenses, and Development Committee. And the second proposed ordinance.
And our second ordinance is Ordinance O 2026-02. This is coming from the Community Development Department, and it is relating to the definition of family in the LDC. And we have Ordinance O 2026-02, an ordinance relating to the definition of family.
And this we will recommend I'm recommending to refer this to the Joint Planning Board and Planning, Licenses, and Development Committee for their discussion, their next meeting, which won't be in February. If you notice, it's canceled. Moving on. One ordinance for second reading this evening.
I don't think we have any. ordinances
Sorry,
for second.
we've got some resolutions.
We have Resolution R 2026-04, and this is coming out of the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee. This relates to the reallocation of unspent bond funds for the wastewater treatment plant service water system upgrade project. And on a vote of 5-0, the Finance, Organization, and Personnel Committee is recommending the adoption of Resolution R 2026-04.
We recognize Counselor Powers for the motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Seconded by Counselor Chadbourne. Counselor Powers.
So we have some monies that are left over from a project within the wastewater treatment plant and from the water sewer fund, non-tax dollars. Those are all fees dollars that are put together. And we have a continuing project to finish some work that's being done at the plant. You'll recall that this plant is now around 40 years old, and some of these systems have really gone much further than was thought, so they need the attention. And the project was in the proposals, put out to bid, 5 bids this time, so that's good to see that kind of competition. But once again, the total amount exceeds the amount of money available in the project. So the funds that are left over from the other project will be moved across the table to cover this, and there will be enough money to cover the cost of operations, the rest of the engineering, and there's a bit of a contingency in case there are some little things. So it's unanimously recommended by FOP that this be carried out, and I hope that you do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on the recommendation? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Chalice.
Yes.
Counselor Workman.
Yes.
Counselor Lake.
Yes.
Counselor Favelis.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
Yes.
Counselor Roberts.
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne.
Yes.
Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Ellis.
Yes.
Counselor Powers.
Yes.
And we have two remaining resolutions to be read into the record this evening.
The first is from our city engineer and our Parks and Recreation Director, and this relates to appropriation of funds to the Robin Hood Park Improvements Project. And we have Resolution R 2026-05 relating to appropriation of planned funds for engineering services for the Robin Hood Park Improvements Project.
And we'll refer this proposal, this resolution, to the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee.
And our next resolution is from the Solid Waste Manager, and it relates to appropriation of funds for recycling equipment. And we have Resolution R 2026-06, a resolution relating to the appropriation of funds for recycling equipment replacement.
We'll recommend, we'll refer this item also to the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee. Having reached the conclusion of our regular agenda, I'd like to recognize Councilor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to go into non-public session for consideration of the release of non-public minutes pursuant to RSA 91-A:3, 2M.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Filio. The clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Chalice?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Ruddle Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Ellis?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Motion carries, and we'll call for a 5-minute recess. And we probably don't need it that desperately, but we do need to make sure we've got communication set up with remote participation.